Are you just sick and tired of being sick and tired of debt? You know that feeling, right? You work so hard and then poof, your money just flies out the door to banks, to credit card companies. Well, you are definitely not alone. So today we're going to break down a really practical, step-by-step guide, all from our sources, to help you conquer debt for good. All right, let's jump in.
So our journey really starts with this powerful idea. It's a central theme in our source material. The borrower is slave to the lender. Wow. Just let that sink in for a second, no matter what your personal beliefs are. I mean, think about that statement. It just perfectly captures that feeling of being trapped, right? Like your life, your choices, they're owned by someone else. This isn't just about the numbers, folks. It's about your freedom.
Okay, so let's just do a little thought experiment. Imagine, for just a second, what if you had no payments? I mean, zero. No car payment, no credit card bills coming in the mail, no student loans hanging over your head. What would you do with all that extra cash every single month? And maybe even more importantly, one of our sources asks this, and it's a huge question, would you even be at the same job if you didn't have to make those payments? Think about that.
All right, before we get to the how-to, we've got to really fully understand the problem. Because debt, it's not just some number on a piece of paper, is it? It's a real, tangible weight. I mean, it's a weight that affects pretty much every part of your life.
So here's the real heart of the issue. Debt doesn't just control your money. It ends up controlling your choices. I mean, think about it. When you owe money, you've got to go to work, right? It can literally trap you in a job you can't stand just because you need that paycheck to keep up with the payments. And our sources point out something fascinating. It's incredibly common for people to make huge, positive career changes after they get debt-free. Why? Because they're finally free. They're not trapped anymore.
Okay, so where do you even start? Well, here's the thing. Getting out of debt, it's not just about crunching numbers on a spreadsheet. Our sources are really clear on this. The very first battle you have to win, it's the one that happens right between your ears. It takes a total shift in how you look at money and debt.
And our sources kind of frame this mental shift in a few different ways. We're going to look at three perspectives. Some say it's really a behavioral problem, so it needs a psychological fix. Others see it more as a spiritual battle that requires faith. And for some, it's just a raw test of discipline and intense focus. And this quote from George Kamel really gets to the heart of it. Debt isn't really a math problem, is it? It's a behavior problem. I mean, if it were just math, we'd all just pay off the highest interest rate first and poof, we'd be done. But we're not robots, right? We're human. We need to feel motivated. We need to see progress. So this whole perspective argues that any plan that's actually going to work has to be designed to change our behavior. And it does that by giving us some quick wins along the way. Now, another perspective we see in the material frames this whole thing as a spiritual struggle. One source, Abundance Awakening, suggests that the goal is abundance, not debt, and they point to scripture like Deuteronomy 28:12, which says you'll lend to many nations but will borrow from none. So from this point of view, faith and prayer are really seen as the key tools to break free. And then there's this third perspective from Smart Money Bro, which really emphasizes that, look, this is a serious business. It's going to take intense, laser-like focus and a deep commitment. It means you have to put on blinders. You have to ignore what everybody else is doing, their fancy vacations, their new cars on Instagram, and you just have to run your own race with some serious discipline. This is especially true if you're on a low income and don't have a ton of extra cash to throw around. Okay, so once we've got that mindset shift happening, it's time to get into the nitty-gritty, the tactics. And the most widely recommended strategy across all our sources is a method that's specifically designed to work with our human behavior, not against it. And it's called the debt snowball. So you basically hear about two main ways to do this. There's the debt avalanche, that's the pure math way. You attack the debt with the highest interest rate first. Makes sense, right? You save the most money on paper. But then there's the debt snowball. And this is the behavioral approach. Here, you attack the smallest balance first, no matter what the interest rate is. The goal? To get a quick win, to feel that momentum. And guess what? Our sources, they overwhelmingly favor the snowball.
And this is how it works, and it's actually kind of brilliant. Just 4 simple steps. Step 1, you list out all your debts, from the smallest balance to the biggest. Step 2, you pay the minimum payments on everything except for that smallest one. Step 3, you take every single extra dollar you can find and you throw it at that smallest debt until it is completely gone. And then, and this is the magic part, you take that entire payment, the minimum plus all the extra you were paying, and you roll it right onto the next smallest debt. And your payment just literally snowballs. It gets bigger and bigger, and you start knocking out debts faster and faster as you go. It's awesome.
Okay, so here's the deal. This process absolutely works. But let's be honest, it can be a grind. Our sources say most people who do this are debt-free in about 18 to 24 months, which is amazing. But if you have a lot of debt, it can definitely take longer. So the big question is, how do you keep that fire burning when it feels like a really long road ahead?
Well, our sources have some really great practical tips for this. Simple stuff. Create a visual reminder like a debt payoff chart you stick right on your fridge so you see it every day. You have to constantly go back to your why. Why are you even doing this? To change your family's future? To just have some peace? And you need people. Get an accountability partner. Get your spouse on the same page. And this one is huge. You have to celebrate the small wins. Every time you pay off a debt, do something to celebrate. And please, stop comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel on social media.
So after all that hard work, all that sacrifice and focus, what's the payoff? What is it all for? Well, it's for the life that is waiting for you on the other side. A life of freedom, a life of options, a life with just incredible opportunity.
Okay, just look at this number for a second. According to one of our sources, this is the average car payment in America, $504. Think about that. Over $500 just flying out the door every single month. And for what? For a car that's dropping in value like a rock the second you drive it off the lot.
But what if? What if instead of sending that $500 to the bank, you invested it? Well, one of our sources actually ran the numbers on this. That same $504 a month, if you invested it from age 30 to age 70, it could grow to, wait for it, $5.6 million. Let that sink in. $5.6 million. That is the absolutely staggering opportunity cost of that car payment.
And that really brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. The whole entire goal of getting out of debt is to get your single most powerful wealth-building tool back under your control. And what is that tool? It's your income. Right now, your income might be working its tail off for banks and credit card companies. The goal is to get that income back so it can finally start working for you.
So as we wrap this up, the plan itself is pretty clear, right? It's all about changing your mindset and then just executing on a proven strategy. But the final question, it really isn't about the how. It's about the who. Once you finally take back control of your income, who are you going to build wealth for? For your future self? For your family? For your community? That right there is the freedom you're fighting for.